My name is Minister Johnny Banks Sr. I'm the Executive Director of A Knock at Midnight. A Knock at Midnight is located at 400 West 76th Street and Suite 206. It's good to be back. We're going to jump right in and get started. I want to talk a little bit about, I needed a chance last week to talk about it. I want to talk tonight and start this show off with some of the services that we are providing at A Knock at Midnight. A Knock at Midnight is a full-service community-based organization where we provide family services, youth services, and employment services. And we encourage anybody who would like to have some services provided for their families, some mentoring or some counseling services for their youth, or seeking employment opportunities. Please reach out to us. We are always looking to assist families and assist the community at large with the services that can better their lives and change the conditions of their lives. One of the great things that we are doing at Knock at Midnight that we have just started to do is we received a grant for an Upward Bound program. We have been seeking to expand our educational services religiously, and we finally had the opportunity with the support of a grant to actually do that. So we got this 5-year grant. We are grateful for the people that helped us write the grant, that had the wherewithal and the know-how to do it, and subsequently is working with us to implement what we think will be a very rewarding and a very exciting opportunity for young people of high school age that we can work with for the next several years to help them with college preparedness and to help them to get ready for whatever is next in their lives. Upward Bound really is a program that has not actually been instituted by many community-based organizations. Most of it was done through colleges, Chicago State, University of Chicago, University of Illinois, Kennedy King, Olive Harvey, some of the other colleges, universities that's in the city. And we were fortunate enough to be one of the community-based not-for-profit organizations who received funding to implement the program. And so we'll be working with schools in Inglewood and the surrounding communities, Auburn, Gresham, Washington Park, Grand Crossing, etc., to provide what we think will be one of the greater opportunities for young people who are serious about their education, who takes getting to the next level and doing something different with their lives, seeing something different with their lives. You know, all of us want to be of some help and support to our people, to the people that you serve, to the people that you live around. And sometimes it seems like we can never get enough done. It's never enough time. But we have to realize that any act of kindness shown toward another person, it really helps the recipient exponentially. So anytime people receive a level of kindness from someone, and it helps them become better equipped to fulfill their own desires and their own needs, we need to really uplift that. And we think that the Upward Bound program is going to be a way for some inner city youth to get a foothold into this whole educational thing, to get better acquainted to how to fulfill their dreams educationally, reach their goals, and we're going to be there to help them every step of the way. You know, it's funny, and I want to read some stats to you. It says 31% of students demonstrated the level of science expertise needed to succeed in entry-level college courses, and more than half were not prepared for college math. Upward Bound is going to help these young people become better equipped to prepare themselves for college and for the rigors of a college education or on a university. So we will have summer programs in the colleges where we will actually be housed for a period of time in the summer on a college campus. They will learn what it's like, participate in all of things that college has to offer, but and in preparedness for college. It talks about 23% of African American, Hispanic, and American Indian students tested hit the math benchmark, which means 77% didn't, and fewer than 15% were prepared for college level science. You know, there is a reality that when you start dealing with education, there's three things you need to know: history, law, and science. And one thing that you must get is an understanding of math. And you cannot go far as you would want to go and achieve what you would want to achieve and then reap the benefits of your achievement. If you cannot read, you cannot comprehend, you don't know the science of something. How does something work? Why does it work? And what do you need to engage it so that it works for you? We don't know the history of stuff, and we don't know the laws by which govern how to make things go. Mathematics is a series of laws which, if done correctly, produces a mathematical outcome that you can either subtract from something, add to something, or take away or divide things equitably for your life. So math is simply how to make your life add up. That's all math is about. It's about the comprehension of those mathematical equations. It's about the comprehension of how things add up. So how does it go from numbers to man? And from man back to numbers? How does things add up? And a lot of times, as we see in our day-to-day existence, things are not adding up. And we are grateful to have this opportunity to help things add up for some of the young people we're serving. It also talks about that students deemed college ready in a subject have a 75% chance of passing a first-year college course. We have to get young people prepared and ready to go to college. We have to get them ready and prepared. If they're not going, even if they're not going to go to college, how can they pick a trade or a career that's suitable for their talents? It's funny how, and I'll make this reference. We have a president today who has taken his talents and meshed them into his job, even though we would say he's untalented, even though we would say that he's incompetent, even though we would say that he participates in a bunch of buffoonery. And if we just push back for a minute and start peeling layers out, we'll find that he has enough skills to sit in that position. The problem is all of the ones before Barack Obama were Donald Trumps. We don't have a history of intellectual people sitting in that seat. We don't have a history of high character people sitting in that seat. There's no evidence. And if you read about it, you'll see what I'm saying. The onset of those people that sat in that seat, they were slave masters. And all the ones after that were white racist guys. And it wasn't so much it was perpetuated racism. It's the way the country was, it's the way the country was built, it's the way the country is. And Barack Obama showed up and put a brand new understanding into the intellect of one man. And he took that seat and he made people proud to see somebody with that intellect and that moral character sitting in that seat. But we went back to business as usual with 45. And so we have to take that and we learn from it. So we have to start to prepare. And there are very, very great opportunities for people to prepare. And one of those ways we prepare is we prepare to educate ourselves. And education, from my understanding, is simply activating a tool which is implanted in a person by God. And then you get what you need to cultivate that information sufficiently so that a person can achieve the purpose for which they were created. Education, to activate that knowledge implanted in a person by God, cultivate that knowledge sufficiently so the person can achieve the purpose for which they were created. Every person that was not born is not on this earth to go to a university. But they are here with purpose, and in order to achieve that, they need an education. So those of us who are seeking higher education, we have the Upward Bound program for you. Then at Knock at Midnight, we deal with life skills, and then we deal with character development. How do you take the skill set that you have and the character that you have, and we work with that character sufficiently so that the person can have an outcome that makes them feel as if they're part of their community, they're part of the environment by which they are in. They're not destroying it, but they are able to develop it, create it, and lift it up. And we can do that when you start giving people an opportunity to understand the skill set they have and how do they use it. We can't be remiss in people having the skills to communicate, the skills to feel good about themselves, the skills to know right from wrong, the skills to understand how to not violate themselves or someone else, the skills to know when that it is improper to put substances in your body that's going to cause you harm. These are skill sets. Some people would like to call it something as simple as common sense, but even common sense is no longer common. So people need to be taught what they need to learn. At A Knock at Midnight, we take painstaking efforts in trying to help people and assist people with gaining knowledge and information. Again, my name is Minister Johnny Banks. I'm the Executive Director of A Knock at Midnight. We're located at 312-738-1060. Many walks and in many stages in the existence of A Knock at Midnight, we've had unscrupulous people, people who have came and tried to destroy what we are working on, destroy what we are doing. But when you understand the history, law, and science of something, you understand that wrong cannot take the throne. You understand that. So when people come into your life and these people are unscrupulous, these people believe in taking away from what you built, you don't get bent out of shape about that, because one thing we do know is that opportunities come and opportunities go. And when you have an organization that is esteemed in its own right because of the results that it has gotten, you don't worry about how people come against you. You don't worry about what people do. You worry about what is the next opportunity to help somebody. And at A Knock at Midnight, we take that very seriously, and we push ourselves, and we encourage ourselves, each and every person in that organization, to let's lift ourselves up above the insanity that's around what we're doing. Let's lift ourselves up from people who are unlawful and who are really, really the type of people that you really don't want to be involved with, and you move on. You move forward, and you get done what you need to get done. We encounter this in all walks of life: church, government, business, clinic, home, and school. You encounter a bunch of people that you really, they really don't want to be involved in, but their job is to make you greater, to make you better, not make you bitter. And we are working on that in all that we do, and we teach those kind of principles, and we teach that ideology so that young people can understand you can't get better if you are bitter. You can't get better if you're constantly talking about what other people are doing and what other people have got, and you're not focusing on what you're doing and what that you have to do to maintain and better and lift up what God has put you on this earth to do. And we're trying to do that by teaching character development and teaching life skills. That's something called the prevention of the fall of individuals, families, and communities, by teaching them the principles that govern individuals, families, and communities. We also do quite a bit of work with family advocacy. Our Family Advocacy Center is one of the premier family advocacy centers in the state of Illinois. There are currently 22 family advocacy centers that's around the state. I think Chicago has about 7 of those family advocacy centers, and A Knock at Midnight is one of them. Family advocacy centers provide preventive services for the Department of Children and Family Services, and also we actually work with families who have nothing to do, have not been impacted by the Department of Children and Family Services, but also need preventive education or preventive services to help them keep their lives on track. It's funny how you can never stop learning. Education never stops. And so family advocacy give us another educational tool to use to help families when they are fragmented, to help families when they have been separated from their children, to help families when they have substance abuse issues that known and unknown, to help families when they need counseling, to help families when they have situations where they've been separated from their children, they're grieving the loss of their children, and subsequently they pick up strange habits and other mannerisms to cope with the loss of their children, or to cope with the fact that their families have been torn apart due to their children being taken out of the home, or them having them removed temporarily due to some negative behaviors or some unscrupulous conduct. We are very excited to work with those families. We have a very good track record of helping people get their family back, to get these families restored, to strengthen the families once they are restored. Family Advocacy works with families for a total of 6 months at a time. And during those 6 months, we provide a myriad of wraparound services to those families. Most organizations do not have the ability to provide wraparound services to the people they serve. They refer those services out, and don't have the follow-up mechanism to know if the services were received by the person. Because once you refer it out, you're generally saying, I'm through. I've done all I can do with you. At a knock at midnight, we don't have to do that. We can do all the wraparound services ourselves. So if anybody's listening and you're working in the social service field, you're working for a community organization, call us if you need some assistance and some work with some of the clients, some of the people, some of the families and individuals that you are working with. We pride ourselves on not deferring our responsibility to mankind by asking somebody else to do for us what we're supposed to be doing for not only other people, but for ourselves as well. And my name is Minister Johnny Banks. Our call-in number is 312-738-1060. We're simply this evening talking about the services that we're providing at a knock at midnight. We also participate in the Mayor's Mentoring Initiative at a knock at midnight, and we're working with about, I think, 40 to 60 young men around several schools, and we're providing intensive mentoring to those young men, trying to keep them engaged in something positive, which disengages the opportunity of them being incarcerated or meeting an untimely demise. Mentoring is a reality. It is real. It is something that we found is a needed service in the community. We have so many young men and young women who are not actualizing some of the opportunities that's set before them because nobody is there to point them toward them and push them in the right direction. And when you mentor a child, basically you're mentoring the family or the adults attached to that child as well. So we look forward to meeting so many parents, caregivers, people who are raising children, that we can give them some aid and give them some support, because we're finding out that many people, what they simply need is support in a lot of what they're doing. We provide, with the mentoring issue, we provide activities that the young people can participate in, whether it's going to sporting events, whether it's going to get tutoring, some other academic supports they may need, practicing or getting some practice opportunities to take their ACT. Whatever that may look like, we're working with those young men on it, as well as meeting with them one-on-one to see what their needs are, fulfilling those needs, see what their questions are, giving answers to those questions, helping them solve any problems that they may have them, and whatever issues that are facing them that is keeping them struggling in their homes, struggling in school, or struggling in the community. We try to resolve and address those issues, because many times we have so many unaddressed and unresolved issues that it overwhelms the individual, and we really can't solve some of these simple problems that we are having because of the overwhelming number of issues and the different things that those issues birth in people's lives. And we're going to we'll be beginning soon working on our Teen Reach program again. Thank the powers that be that we are able to provide that service to the little people, those from 10 to 17 that need after school programs, weekend programming, things that keep them busy, keep them off the street, keep them engaged, keep them learning, keep them wanting to know, and shows them an inordinate amount of love. And we take that whole recipe and we come up with programs like Teen Reach that young people can come, they can be a part of our organization, They can grow up from 10 years old all the way to high school. They can be a part of what we're doing. Our services never really stop. The funding may stop, but we find a way to keep those programs going. We find a way to continue to move everything up. And from a holistic perspective, and we'll kind of shift a little bit because this is the sister reality of A Knock at Midnight, and it's the development of a church, of the spiritual arm called the Wayside Chapel. You know, there's 6 things that every institution or every community-based organization or every not-for-profit has to enact to help the whole man. That's the development of a church, what a church is, why a church is, how does it work. Business, what is business, why is business, how does it work. Government, what is government, why is government, how does it work. Clinic, the same thing, what it is, why it is, how it works, what is health. Why is health so important? How does healthiness really work? Then you got home. What is a home? Why is a home? How does a home work? And school. So these 6 things. So A Knock at Midnight is in the throes of developing institutions. And the one we have recently developed is the Wayside Chapel. So that when people need spiritual wholeness, spiritual principles, and spiritual knowledge, they can come by Wayside. Wayside is open on Wednesday nights. We there on Sundays, but it's the interesting part is that the doors of the church are always open. You're more than welcome to come by at any time, Monday through Sunday. Yes, we have our beginning of week activity, which is our Sunday service at 11 at the Wayside Chapel, and we have our midday Bible study, and we're going to, in a very short period of time, start midday or afternoon Bible studies on a regular, so people from the community can have a place they can come. It is open. The need to have your spiritual questions, issues, and needs, you can come and ask your questions, deal with your issues, have your needs met, and anything else that you might need for your family. You can go from one part of the building right across the hall to the other one, because the not-for-profit and the church share the same floor. Just a door separates those 2 things. So we ask everybody, if you have any of those needs, call A Knock at Midnight, 773-488-2960, or you can call the Wayside Chapel at 312-918-8819. That's the Wayside Chapel at 312-918-8819. Listen, as I get ready to close the show, I just want to if you thought about calling, thank you for thinking. If you was just sitting listening, please take our number at A Knock at Midnight. The number at A Knock at Midnight is 773-488-2960. You can ask for myself, Johnny Banks, Minister Johnny Banks. You can ask for Miss Ida Brown, Miss Jessica Green, or Miss Charlene Johnson. Any one of us are capable of answering any question you may have, and helping you get the services that you may need for yourself, or you may need for your children. You may be interested in having us come by the school that your children go to, do some stuff for families, or you may simply want to get involved in the spiritual activities that we are also participating in at the Wayside Chapel. Whatever you choose to do or whatever your needs are, we are more than happy to meet those needs every step of the way. Listen, it has been great being here with you this evening. And remember that in the darkest hour, truth and knowledge are the way. Good night, and God bless you.